Well, here's another story with everything that's going on here in New York with the congestive pricing being halted by Governor Kathy Hochul. Now we got dueling lawsuits that are coming on both ends. We have the lawsuits against, and now we have lawsuits coming up for congestive pricing. And see, the thing about it is that no one has done their job. This shows you the inexperience of this current governor and the people that she's put in place to run New York State. Because this story, and this is what I keep saying, the cannabis rollout here in New York has been an utter disaster failure to the situation. And the only way you're going to remedy it is to repeal it and only re-release it as a medicinal only. Because basically, they say, well, people need to get their shot. There are not that many people. There are people still on the waiting list paying thousands upon thousands of dollars for storefronts that they haven't been able to open. Understand that. And here in this particular story, this is from the city. State cannabis officials repeatedly raised alarms to Hocal's teams over private equity loan deals, internal emails show. And this is a red flag that basically the financing to get on there was not going to help to the situation on there. But we're going to read into this on here. Last June, Joseph Thomas, an assistant counsel to Governor Kathy Hochul, wrapped up negotiations on a $150 million deal that made investment firm Chicago Atlantic Group the major financier of the state cannabis legalization program. Within the state Office of Cannabis Management, doubts and about the agreed flare instant intensity. This is bad, wrote Matt Greenberg, a financial analyst at the Cannabis Agency, often referred to as the OCM. I would not advise them to sign this. Greenberg's alarm was just one of the trove of more than 500 emails obtained by the city that showed agency officials repeatedly criticized many of the decisions that have been shaped the troubled cannabis legalization program as they were being made. In this instance, according to a state official with direct knowledge of negotiations, top administration leaders agreed that the contract contained so many provisions benefiting the company at the state expense that it amounted to a sweetheart deal. In other words, your tax dollars, guess what? Your tax dollars was going back to pay for this right out of there completely. Remember that. Nevertheless, after almost a year of failing to strike a better agreement with numerous other companies, Hocal's top staff decided that the deal with Chicago Atlantic was the only way to fulfill a pledge made by the governor in her 2022 State of the State agenda to create a massive loan program through which the state would allow people affected by years of racially discriminating drug laws to flourish as owners of legal cannabis stores. See, I have a thing against that. Now, I understand not everybody that was arrested for a pot situation, wasn't really a criminal. They were just smoking pot. But the thing about it is, and I know in the minds of these politicians up there, did they filter through the criminals that were plea downs? In other words, they pleaded down to a lesser charge, a drug possession from a bigger crime. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You may have some people out there that eventually might or might not open a cannabis or has already opened one that basically has a criminal record, which technically by certain regulations they should not have that if they have a current criminal record. Because the thing about it is they say, well, it was just cannabis is still is against federal law. They haven't removed that. It is still a section 1, I think section 1 drug on there. So basically it is a violation. If you try to get an alcohol license for a bar or anything like that, you'll be denied immediately. Guns, if you go to buy a gun, we know that from the Biden trial situation. If you're addicted onto something, if you're on a section 1, whether it's cannabis, cocaine, any of that nature, you could be denied a license to carry a gun. So why was it okay to give these people to give them a license to sell drugs? Think about that for a minute. Continuing on, after the city unearthed a near final copy of the undisclosed contract in April, several state legislators and financial experts said it smacked of predatory lending by loading startup retail operations with steep costs, strict repayment terms that could quickly lead them to default. The details of this agreement revealed that the state had guaranteed the company a 15% return on its investment, even if the dispensary owners fail, a nearly risk-free proposition. Yeah, of course, it's going to come out of the taxpayers. When Hocal called the cannabis rollout a disaster in January, OCM officials were privately stunned since their repeated warnings had gone unheeded by the governor's office. The emails reviewed by the city, along with policy memos and reports covering the critical periods between July 2022 and to 2023, when the state was struggling and failing to open more than a handful of legal dispensaries, as hundreds of thousands of pounds of licensed cannabis rotted in fields and warehouses for the lack of retail distribution, because we have a lot of illegal out there grown by China. You can find them, a lot of it in Maine right now. Individuals who the state chose as dispensary owners because they had been victimized by decades of now discredited drug laws found themselves facing high interest loans, high construction costs, and wildly optimistic official revenue projections they stood little chance of meeting. You're still going to screw them. It's basically you're screwing people left and right. And, somehow someone up there in Albany is making money off of this, besides the Chicago loan group. Meanwhile, thousands of illegal weed stores proliferated around the city and state, largely with impunity. Amid this disarray, officials from the OCM, one of two state agencies tasked with managing the program, were sending out their increasing urge red flags emails to each other and to others in the state government. Frequently, the focus was the public-private investment fund that Chicago Atlantic is participating in, where the state is contributing $50 million, and the company agreed to provide $50 million loan and a commitment to spend up to $100 million on real estate that fund would then lease to retail licenses. In one representative email from May of 2023, James Rogers, the Office of Cannabis Management, current Director of Business Development, who wrote to his colleagues that it might be time to blow the whistle on their partner in the legalization rollout. The State Dormitory Authority, inflated construction costs are real, inflated real estate prices are real, binding licenses to vendors that were procured outside the state procurement procurers is real. We must issue a statement that is truthful on how the program was run, he urged. The officials were never more alarmed that they were in emails to each other before sent an unorthodox copy of the Chicago Atlantic agreement to Hocal's executive chamber advocating extensive changes. Well, I'll tell you this. There's a lot more to this article, and I will tell you, go ahead and read it. It's very interesting. I just gave you the basis to this, and I'll tell you, so now we're going to wrap this with a bow, as they say. Understand, again, this has been a failure. We're seeing where the problems are. Nobody in Albany is trying to resolve the situation. All they're doing is putting Band-Aids on the issues. But there are plenty of people, legitimate people, that wanted to get their licensing are either held up, haven't gotten their paperwork finished via the OCM, paying thousands upon thousands of dollars of rent, because, in New York, rent is not cheap. And they're just waiting to open their stores. This is the time now we need investigation. We need a independent counsel to go over this, to look at all the evidence, and finally bring up some charges. I mean, Governor Hocal needs to step down at this point. The things that she's doing to New York, and I'm telling you, the things she's doing to New York is harming the constituents. They're harming the people of New York City and of New York State as well. She said, well, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. Crime is up. The drug trade is very high up right now. We have situations that are going on throughout New York City. We have a prostitution problem in Queens. AOC is not even handling that itself. She doesn't want to handle that situation. She hasn't stepped foot pretty much in that part of Queens since she's been reelected. You have other politicians. You have the mayor of New York. He's in fight with someone, also named Adams in the city council, that they're fighting it out right now. You have congestive pricing at war with itself, which basically for and against lawsuits that are going on right now. You have money being thrown over, tax money being thrown all over the place, but it ain't helping New York. Right now we need to open the books. We need to put things in place. We need to tell people, our politicians, we sent you there, but it's time to end this. Elections are around the corner. This is why, basically situation, they're trying to fix this. So they say, well, I did fix it. I did try to fix it. No, the time is done. It is well over a year that this has been going on. Now is the time to investigate this, put this in play, and for those, maybe jail time, it's time for jail time. It's time for basically people to be impeached in office. So tell me in the comments below, what are your thoughts about this? This is, what it comes down to this is going to end up to be taxpayer money being to pay these equity loan deals off. That's what's going to happen because people are going to falter. This is the same thing what happened with the housing crisis. This is the reason why we had that housing crisis situation, because they started giving money away, but that you're not going to get paid back for it. So let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and share this video, and hopefully today's the day I've earned your subscription. Until next time, thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye now.
Thanks for watching, commenting, and sharing this video. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe as this helps the reach of this channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have the ability to help support this channel as new internet laws around the world will diminish our reach and affect our sponsors. If you choose to help, there are two ways listed in the description below. The first link will lead you to a pay site where you can make a monetary donation. The second will lead you to our gear shop where you can buy shirts, mugs, and other gear. Discounts will be listed on the site. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.